Coming up, Iconic New York continues live beginning at 10:50 a.m. Eastern. David Kennedy, founder and CEO of Trusted SEC and author of The White Hat Hacker, will be talking cybersecurity. He'll break down the vulnerabilities that all companies should look out for and will be teaching you how to protect your clients and business. Then at 11:25 a.m. Eastern, Thrive Global founder and CEO and Huffington Post co-founder Arianna Huffington sit down with CNBC Squawk Box co-anchor Andrew Ross Sorkin for an Inspire Iconic session. They'll be exploring the best ways to achieve the much sought-after work-life balance that is needed in order to thrive. At 1:20 p.m. Eastern, longtime beauty industry veteran Bobbi Brown takes the iconic stage. The entrepreneur, author, and founder of Bobbi Brown Cosmetics will join Inc. magazine editor-at-large Kimberly Weissel to discuss Brown's entrepreneurial journey and the steps you need to take in order to successfully maneuver through an ever-changing business landscape. And later this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, the big man hits the big stage. Daymond John, co-star of Shark Tank, founder and CEO of the Shark Group, and founder and CEO of Blueprint & Company, will have an iconic Inspire session with CNBC Squawk in the Street and Squawk Alley co-anchor Carl Quintanilla. The pair will explore John's path to success. From his humble beginnings to the launch of his Blueprint company, John will discuss the lessons he's learned and the key tips for growth and success. That's just some of what's ahead on this action-packed day, live from Iconic New York, presented by Inc. and CNBC.
We are here at Iconic New York talking to some of the best entrepreneurs across the country today. And joining us now, we have Sara Kauss, the CEO, founder of Swell. Good to see you, Sara.
I'm so excited to be here.
We're very happy to have you as well. And as you know, we have lots of budding entrepreneurs here trying to get a sense of and get a taste of how entrepreneurs like you became a success and created these great companies. This morning, why don't you start us off with what your inspiration was?
I thought the world needed a more fashion-forward water bottle, something that looked better and something that actually worked better. So I created the Swell water bottle. It's a beautiful water bottle, but it also keeps drinks cold for 24 hours and hot for 12 hours, and we work with tons of charities as well.
Right, and that was in 2010, and you started the company with $30,000 of your own money at that time.
Correct.
Were you working at the time?
I wasn't. I found it was really hard to juggle a job and starting a business plan and writing up what the company was going to be, so I just quit my job, invested all my savings, and gave it a shot.
And was the idea very clear? Was it crystal clear in your mind? Or was it something that you discovered along the way?
It was clear to me. I don't know that it would have been clear to the world, but I thought about the company as myself as a consumer. I was living in New York and I was pulling out of a very beautiful handbag something that looked like a camping accessory. So I wanted something that was for the fashion-forward set.
Mm-hmm. And what do people think when you were pulling that canister out of the bag at the time?
People would ask me, like, did you get on the plane with that? Did you go camping with that? They didn't really understand what was happening. So I would drink out of it and I'd put it back in my purse, but it wasn't something I was really proud of that I'd leave on the table. And I was really thinking that there was a bit of a movement that was happening, that people were thinking about maybe not using reusable plastic so much. They were thinking about the health and safety about those plastic bottles. There was a lot of reporting about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, that there was starting to be some rumblings about not using so much plastic. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, if people are investing in their bags and their backpacks and their briefcases, why aren't they investing in their water bottles? Why aren't the water bottles the thing, like your iPhone and your keys, the thing that you grab when you went out of the house because you know you're going to be thirsty over the course of the day? So I really just thought about myself as the consumer and made a product for me, and then thought, well, the market must be there for it.
Well, as a budding entrepreneur, if you can go back all those years in 2010, what would be your advice to those just starting out?
I would say to have a little bit of confidence. There were a lot of naysayers. A lot of people said to me, no one is going to pay $35 for a water bottle. No one's going to sell this in Bloomingdale's. This is just not going to work. And if you actually looked at the data, it probably wouldn't have worked statistically, but now there's a whole market there for it. So I would just say, just have a little bit of confidence, and when you think about how big the market is, you don't always really know from looking at what the world looked like then. Mm-hmm. You have to sometimes create what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and some of the entrepreneurial advice is to go out and just do it, because some people are hesitant. They think, oh, where am I going to get the funding? How do I scale? I need strategy, some help, some big names to come in. What about the doubts in early entrepreneurs' minds?
Well, there's all those doubts.
Yeah.
But for me, I almost needed to have those doubts, and I almost needed to put my own risk capital in to give me sort of that kick in the pants to get out the door and sell the product.
Yeah.
So I almost think that that's helpful, that's sort of motivating to have that doubt. I mean, that's what an entrepreneur does.
Right.
I mean, that's what an entrepreneur is made of. I mean, if not, then you're just working a boring desk job.
Well, they say there's always an inflection point when it comes to a business where it just takes off. For Swell, when did that happen and how did it happen?
We've had a number of them, but we had a moment where I got a call from the editor of Oprah's magazine. I had sent one. I did all the PR in the early days. I did all the jobs in the early days. And the editor said, I love this product. It's beautiful and it works. Send me every color you have and I'll put it in the magazine. And at the time, the product only came in blue. So I had a moment, and all the product was sitting in my apartment.
Right.
So I had a moment where I had to decide, am I going to order more colors? Am I going to scale up the warehouse and customer service to keep up with this magazine? And am I really going to invest to make this happen? And so I said, yes, I will send you every color. I bought a Pantone book. I researched the colors, I ordered more colors, and that was really a moment. And there was an Oprah effect. We did sell a lot, but really what happened, it was more of a stamp of confidence for retail stores then to say, okay, I'll give you a shot because you were in this magazine. And then this sort of network effect happened from there because we were in more retail stores, more people were carrying the product, more people carrying the product talked about the product, and that really was the first inflection point that kind of helped get us out there.
Yeah. Now, when you were just starting out, what was the, tell me the personality trait, what was the attitude as you were trying to build up Swell?
My attitude?
Yeah.
I was nervous but confident. I had to really sort of pretend that this was going to happen. So when I was talking to these retail buyers and said, we are a hydration fashion accessory, I had to say that with a lot of swagger. I had to say that with a lot of confidence. And, a lot of these retailers would say, well, we don't carry water bottles. And I would have to say, no, it's not a water bottle. We belong here. Your customer might not be carrying this now, but what you don't realize, they will be carrying this in the future. So, at the same time I was trying to get into those top doors, I also had to have the confidence to say no to some mass market retailers. And because I didn't have investors, I was allowed to really say no to some dollars because I didn't want to be at mass. I wanted to wait to be in the best places. I wanted to be in the Neiman's and the Saks and the Nordstroms. I didn't want to be in all the mass places. And I only had so much inventory. So if I had put it in a place I wasn't completely proud and confident, I wouldn't later on be able to go to the top.
Right.
You can always start at the top and then go to the mass. So I had, in those early days, I had to really try hard for those places that were saying no, and I had to sort of ward off the places that were begging to get in. So it was a very strange time.
Yes, we have an amazing roster of entrepreneurs here at Iconic in New York, and that roster, that lineup continues as we have Aaron Krause, the inventor, founder of Scrub Daddy, joining us, by the way, the most successful product launch ever on Shark Tank. And we have Ollie as well, our special friend, who will be part of a special demonstration in just a bit. But let's talk about the success of Scrub Daddy.
Sure.
I think Kevin O'Leary said that your product changed his mind in terms of how to think of successful product launches and businesses in the future.
Well, that was before he said, "Scrub Daddy, you suck," and threw the sponge at me because he didn't get the deal.
That's right. But, okay, so tell me how you invented such a small little thing that has now become such a huge success.
Well, in my family, the men have always done the dishes. So in my house, my wife cooks and I do the dishes. And I really got tired of using the gross, moldy sponges that are just pervading everybody's kitchen. And so one day I said, there should be a sponge that doesn't smell, doesn't scratch, and I started work on a brand new material that had never been invented before for use in the kitchen and for scrubbing. And what we've invented is something unbelievably spectacular. This sponge that everyone uses in the world, everyone needs a sponge. It doesn't smell, it doesn't scratch, and it changes its texture with water temperature. And then of course we made it in a cute smiley face, and you use all the features of the smile. You put your fingers in the eye hole so you don't have to hold on to the sponge, and the mouth even cleans your spoons, knives, forks, and spatulas.
Now, before Shark Tank, I believe your sales were only 100,000 at the time.
Correct.
What are they now?
So before Shark Tank, I was selling on QVC, and we had just started our sales, and we got about 100,000. At this point, we've done over 150,000 in retail sales.
Wow. Okay. And some say that your presentation.
I said 150,000. I meant 150 million.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short there. Don't sell yourself short. Now, I heard that your presentation on Shark Tank was the best ever. The sharks themselves said it was so convincing. I think Daymond John said it was the best he's ever seen on the program.
Well, when I finished, Daymond John said, that might be the first live infomercial I ever saw. And the sharks were all laughing. And that's kind of what I was going for. I was trying to create the most compelling demonstration because I could see on Shark Tank, you only have about 30 or 40 seconds to get the attention of all the sharks.
So presentation matters.
The presentation is 100%. And you have to be confident, you have to move quickly and get all your points across. And so I had practiced that many, many times. And truthfully, I replicated much of the pitch that I do on QVC, that I had a track record for success.
Yeah, and what is the secret to success? I'm sure you get that question all the time here.
Oh, it's really simple. Marry the right girl.
Okay. Well, then you've succeeded.
There's so many secrets to success, but I mean, the most important one is that you need to go into a business that you love. Because if you don't work passionately in something that you love doing every day, then obviously you're not going to put your heart and soul to it. And when you put your heart and soul to it and you work really, really hard, which is the second big secret to success, because I work probably 18 hours a day, weekends, nights, and I've given up a lot of the sacrifices are unbelievable. But those are the real secrets to success. Love what you do so that you're passionate about it, and then spend a lot of time making sure that your dreams come true.
Right, and then what about expansion? Like, how did you know, and I guess a light bulb went off in your head that maybe I've got something here and it's time to expand, and then, build up the infrastructure, hire more people, and raise capital?
So a couple points on that. The first is that entrepreneurs and inventors, we have a natural, innate confidence in our product. And so I already knew that the product was going to be successful, or I wouldn't have invested my time, effort, or money into it. The time that I knew that I needed to start expanding was right after Shark Tank, because the night that we aired, we had about 40,000 people on our website, and within days we were selling hundreds of thousands of sponges.
Right.
And so at that point it was, we needed to really expand quickly.
Okay.
I did make sure that we were prepared for that. So that's part of success, is being prepared for what's going to come. We did a numbers game. We said, okay, there's 7 million people who watch Shark Tank. This is how many people may convert,
right,
and let's bring in inventory and be ready for that situation. And so when that wave came, we actually were able to ship, and we followed that up with, let's bring in some more inventory, because we've obviously got a winner.
Yeah, well, let's bring in our special guest,
Yes.
because speaking of expansion,
Correct.
you have a new product, and in this demonstration, you're going to show us how this wonderful new product that you've invented, the
Yes.
Scrub Daisy,
Yes.
makes kids and even children,
Wash dishes.
That's right.
So that's a big thing. Now, if you can get children to help out wash the dishes, you've got a great product. Our next line of evolution in our product is going to be dish wands. So we made a great sponge, and now we've taken that sponge technology and married it as heads to dish wands. And I happened to meet this cute little entrepreneur here, and I was showing him the product, and he said, oh, I hate washing dishes. And I said, oh yeah? Watch this. And Ali, what do you think now?
It's actually pretty cool.
Okay,
So
well, let's see.
He's going to show a little demonstration of how you change the heads of the Scrub Daisy, because these are interchangeable quick connect heads. And the wand is a one-time buy, and then the heads are quick connect, and each one has a different function. So Ali, walk us through, how do you change the heads? This one's called the sunflower.
Simply, wait, what? Oh, wait, simply,
Yeah.
Very
grab
simply.
this
Yep.
and then
And you
pull
twist
out,
and pull off.
then set down, swap, and then match this up here, right up
Perfect.
to this.
Perfect.
And then simply screw in and wash.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
And that is exactly how you do it. Now, the next time we do our live QVC demos,
Oh, right.
we want to show it to the camera. So I want you to
So-
aim it at the camera, there you go, and start showing how you twist it on and off, and then you're going to be a live QVC on-air person.
Yeah.
Twist
Perfect.
it off, grab this side, and then stick in.
Other side.
All right.
There you go.
And
Line
what
it
is
up.
the most important thing that you learned today, Ollie?
You can follow your dreams, and that's all that matters.
And also that men do the dishes. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's
See that?
right.
Men can do the dishes. I agree.
They're
You'll
awesome.
find out. It actually gets you really good brownie points when you get married.
So, Scrub Daddy, out.
That's what better way to end it. Aaron, Ollie, thank you so much. Iconic New York, and let's take a look at the best of the best.
Have you learned more from your successes or your failures?
My failures.
Why?
Yeah, just because, I mean, I've been a fuck up my whole life, and you know, and so the more I've been able to go backwards, I just, because it gave me confidence to realize that I can compete. You know, when I got, you know, when I've had businesses that failed, it was like, okay, I bounced back.
Do you keep a batting average on your success rate?
Well, there's two different types. Yeah, I mean, I don't so much anymore because Shark Tank, there's so many companies now, it's more difficult. But, you know, in terms of companies that I've started, you know, when I was 18, 19, 20, 22, I probably had more failures than successes. But once I hit 24 and started Micro Solutions, then I was pretty much batting 100.
What changed?
I mean, I learned from my mistakes. I learned that sales cures all, right? I learned that I had to be prepared. I just couldn't wing it. I had to know what I was talking about. I had to be able, I think the biggest change for me was that I learned how to put myself in my customer's shoes, so that I'd had enough failures and had enough experiences, even at 24, where I could walk into any business and say, okay, I understand your business. And I was able to drill down pretty quickly, and I could say, here's how my software, my service, my support can impact your business. I mean, literally, I remember being 24 and standing in front of an old IBM computer, writing up, you know, here's how Micro Solutions will impact your profitability and provide you a competitive advantage. And then going into companies and saying, here's how this applies to you. And so, I mean, for any product or service that's sold to a business, that's what it's all about, putting yourself in their shoes and showing them how you can help them make more money and gain a competitive advantage. And once I figured that out at 24.
You mentioned one, which was focus on sales.
Yeah, sales cures all. There's never been a business that succeeded without sales, right? The second thing is, this will be counterintuitive, don't ask for help. I think one of the things that is challenging the companies right now is they want a mentor, they want a tutor, right? Get out there, ready, fire, aim. Go, do, get off your ass and go to fucking work, right? Not like, oh, would you help me? And I really need a tutor, and you know, you know, I can't figure this out. Figure the shit out yourself, you know? Because going through that process of learning, I think, you know, part of what is happening in schools, like when I go to talk in colleges in particular, it's like, will you help me? Will you help me? Will you help me? Help yourself, right? And I think that's where we get caught up. So just do it. And then third is be prepared. People are like, oh, you're such a risk taker. I don't take risks, right? When you walk into the room, if you don't know more about your business, your industry, your company, your customer than everybody else in the world, you're lying to yourself that you don't know shit then, right? Because someone like me is going to just kick your ass. Seriously, right? If you walk in and there's somebody else who knows your business and your industry better than you, why would they buy from you? The one thing in business that you can control, your effort. Your effort. Period, end of story. There's nobody that should be able to outwork you. I guarantee you know, particularly when I was getting going, you wouldn't outwork me, right? There's just no chance. And so, you know, who's outworking you? What's your effort level like? You know, and look, everybody is a mess at times. You're scared. You know, am I going to make it? Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? Am I prepared? Oh, they said no. I didn't get the sale. This guy beat me. This girl beat me. Whatever it may be, shit happens. Get over it and get back to the grind, right? There's, you know, success isn't a straight line.
What are you watching when you watch Shark Tank? You're watching the pursuit of freedom. What does it mean to be wealthy? You're free. That's the dream of every entrepreneur. It's not about the greed of money. It's the ability to set your time for yourself and your family and the causes you believe in. And even a 9-year-old girl understands that if their family can come up with a product or service that's a success in America, you become free. It's the form of what the definition of wealth is. It's visceral. It's powerful. You can't stop watching it, because the pursuit of it is challenging. You know, it's the probability of being successful is low, but you don't stop trying. That's the nature of what an entrepreneur is. And I think it's captured an amazing time in America when we went through the turmoil of 2008, 2009. Young people today realize that you have just as much risk working for a large corporation than you do starting your own, except the outcomes are so much different. If you're going to take a chance at being fired, let it be at your own hand. Start your own company. And today I spend a lot of time, particularly with graduating cohorts of engineers, which are my favorite to teach, trying to get a third of the class not to work for anybody, to start a company. Because we're in a global fight here in America. We do about 49,000 engineers a year. China does 250,000, and they're not bad engineers over there anymore. Those guys are coming to kick butt, and we have to respond. And so I'm trying to get more people involved in being an entrepreneur. I think you have to view the world in a way that assumes success. Otherwise, you'll never have the energy. Maybe not a pessimist, but a skeptic is a good thing to be. Because what I've learned about business over all these years and all these deals, it's never as good as it sounds, but it's never as bad as it looks either. You know, every day, I've got 32 portfolio companies now. Something wildly bad is happening to one of them, and the cell phone rings at 6 in the morning, and something fantastically great is happening to another one. And it seems to me the random serendipitous nature of it all is really intriguing to me. One of the reasons I don't like to invest in deals run by a single man or woman is there's no test. There's no counterparty asking them. You think about the iconic successes of Apple. You had two completely different people in Jobs. I used to work for Steve Jobs. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. He was not a nice guy, but he was a genius. But Wozniak balanced him. He was the more human being side of it, because we produced all his educational software in the early years. What a... Anyways, you know, the point is, I love the balance of having someone test your theory. So, you know, speaking to the issue is, if you have somebody that doesn't think they ever make mistakes, you don't want to be their partner, because life just isn't like that. And the truth in what I've looked at all my successes and failures, I'm not perfect. There's many things I don't like to do. And all of my businesses where I was an operator, I had partners that would fill in my holes. And I think teams work a lot better. So you look at my deals on Shark Tank, they're usually a team. I can kind of feel out which one's the marketing person, which one's the logistic person, who knows the numbers, that kind of thing. You have to test yourself all the time or have somebody else bring you to reality. That's the issue.
So as you see, an amazing, amazing lineup of entrepreneurs and some of the most dynamic people across the country, and some from outside the country, but have found success in U.S. borders. And one of those people joins us now. We have Sara O'Hagan, who's a founder of Flywheel.
Actually, the CEO of Flywheel, yeah.
Yes, the CEO of Flywheel, and you just got off the stage.
Yeah.
Very encouraging and an inspirational conversation you had.
Yeah.
Because people think that successful entrepreneurs like you, they're just born that way. It's easy.
No, it's funny, and I literally just wrote a book about this whole topic called Extreme You, because I realized, like, everyone who's young in the world is thinking, if I'm not perfect and born and successful immediately, something's wrong with me. And it's like, that's just not the way it works. And so I spent a lot of time, like, really trying to share those embarrassing stories of failure and everything to help certainly younger people realize, like, it's okay. Like, it's going to take a while to figure out where you are at your best, and that's all right.
And I like, my favorite quote from you is, lean into failure.
Yeah, 100%. I totally believe that, like, it is failures that make you stronger in the end and make you go on and have more confidence because you overcame them. So you got to go for it.
So let's go through your story, because in your 20s, you were fired and then laid off back to back.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
it was pretty epic. Yeah. I was like, basically 4 years where I was such a train wreck in my career and it just wasn't working. But actually, I really believe those are the things that made me really go, okay, I got to pull this together, learn a bit about myself, maybe certainly much more humble, which was needed, and just resilient, you know? When you get through something like that, you kind of go, I'll be all right.
Yeah. But how did you maintain your confidence during those tough 4 years?
It's a great question. I actually believe I didn't. Like, I lost a lot of confidence, but I never lost my courage. And I think that was the important thing, to just keep realizing that I don't have the option to not try, because otherwise I'm going to get kicked out of the country. I wasn't even a citizen then, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Your green card, your green card was up for renewal.
Yeah.
You were unemployed.
Yeah.
I mean, so, what was the mindset? How did you pick yourself up and say, I have to go for it?
I think it was like desperate times. Like I was so desperate not to lose my American dream, you know, and I was like, I have to figure this out. And so I think that's where the courage comes from. I was like, I will make getting a job my full-time job, you know, for sure.
And so what is your encouragement, your advice for entrepreneurs?
It's all about, like, don't go for perfection, don't expect success too soon. Like, take the time to learn as you go and recognize that there are going to be a lot of bumps in the road, but it doesn't mean you're over. It's just like a bump that you've got to work through and figure out where it takes you next.
And how do you recognize opportunity? Like, how did that spark go off in your head thinking, oh, fitness is a great opportunity?
It's funny, I really believe, like, the sparks in your head come from having a lot of disparate experiences. Because I started my career in airlines. Who would have thought that airlines would actually one day help me be good at indoor fitness? Like, there's a similarity, butts on seats, you know? And it's like, if you have all these disparate experiences, that's where innovative thinking comes from. Because you're like, oh, wait, that does that way, sports and fitness does it this way. What if they came together, you know?
And then as an entrepreneur, you know, there's this argument, do you get a partner, do you go it alone?
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you lean towards?
100% go with a partner. I really believe, like, we're only as good as the people that can complement us. And I think all the people I interviewed for my book, a lot of incredibly successful entrepreneurs, the keys to their success was partnership, you know?
Right, that's right. You interviewed a lot of people in your book.
25 very, very successful people. I mean, from Ali Webb, who founded the Dry Bar, the founders of Strava, through to Condoleezza Rice, Bodie Miller, the downhill skier, and all of these people extremely successful, but they all openly just instantly said, without the people that complement my skills, I could not have been this good.
And they also, I think in your book, they also said that it's not like you get this idea and it's just a snap of a finger.
No.
It develops over time.
Absolutely. Like, so many of them. What I loved, actually, I thought the best, like, insight from the whole book is, if you haven't figured out what you're going to be amazing at by the time you're 40, that's okay. Like, a lot of people didn't actually get to their real amazing, thriving part until way later in their life, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But what people think that in, Silicon Valley now, if you're over 30, it's...
Yeah, and that's just not the case. Like, it's funny, I do feel for a lot of younger people, like, take a minute. Like, take 5 years to explore, learn, travel, do different things, then start a company. You know, it's okay. Like, those experiences will make you better.
And what about being a female entrepreneur? Did you think it was more difficult on the way up?
So funny. Like, I come from New Zealand, as you know. Like, we were the first country in the world to give women the vote. So I feel like I just culturally never even thought that was it just didn't occur to me that could be an issue. And so I always wanted to be the best executive, not the best female executive, the best executive. And I think if you just, like, make sure you don't let things get in your way as a woman, I think that's important.
That's amazing. So I guess the top 3 takeaways then for people that are coming up to you at this event, what are the main things that you're telling people today?
Yeah. Firstly, like, make failure your fuel. Like, don't panic when you have a failure, because it will lead you somewhere better. Secondly, I talked a lot today about playing your specialist game. Like, what are you amazing at that you're uniquely better than anyone else at? And be very, very focused on that one thing. And then lastly, this idea of partnering with other people. If you're really amazing at one thing, find the person that complements you to really help you become a broader, more successful entrepreneur.
Sara, thank you so much for sharing the inspiration. We're going to compete on the torque board, right?
We are so doing this, you and me. I got it.
We're doing it. We're sweating it together. Sara O'Hagan, Flywheel CEO, so inspirational. And we're taking a look at also some other entrepreneurs as well that are specializing and innovating in different fields. For instance, condiments. Kate Rogers has this story.
Back in 2014, real estate developer John Krause and his partners were working to rehabilitate some of the worst buildings in the Bronx. But fixing the physical problems was only half the battle. Enlisting the help of local community gardens, a solution came in an unlikely form: hot sauce.
Our model is structured to help create economic resources for them by utilizing what they do best, namely grow food for people.
Crotty co-founded Small Axe Peppers, which donates serrano pepper seedlings to community gardens in the Bronx. This year, 2,400 plants were donated to 40 community gardens. The community works together to grow the peppers, and the startup then offers to buy the peppers back at premium price to make its Bronx Green Market hot sauce in partnership with Grow NYC and the New York Botanical Garden.
Our guiding philosophy is a bunch of community partners coming together, working together to make something great and hopefully tackle some of society's small problems.
The hot sauce was created by restaurateur Chef King Fojanikon, a childhood friend of Crotty's with ties to the Bronx.
Oh, that thing's smoking.
It has just 6 ingredients and is truly farm to table, retailing at Whole Foods and farmers markets in the tri-state area, as well as in Oregon and Washington state. Last year, the company sold $100,000 in hot sauce, which translated into $8,000 back to community gardens.
Everybody feels great because they actually saw the seedling, they grew it, we harvested it, we made the sauce, bottled it, and brought it back and ate it. It's just amazing.
Coming up, Iconic New York continues live, beginning at 3:45 p.m. Eastern. First up, Steve Hindy, co-founder of Brooklyn Brewery. He helped pioneer the hip craft beer market. In a conversation with Inc. magazine president and editor-in-chief Eric Schoenberg, in this Growing Your Brand Iconic session, Hindy will discuss how to expand your business while still honoring its core values. And later this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, an iconic size closer, Daymond John, co-star of Shark Tank, founder and CEO of the Shark Group, and founder and CEO of Blueprint & Company, will have an iconic Inspire session with CNBC Squawk in the Street and Squawk Alley co-anchor Carl Quintanilla. The pair will explore John's path to success. From his humble beginnings to the launch of his Blueprint company, John will discuss the lessons he's learned and the key tips for growth and success. That's coming up later today on this action-packed day, live from Iconic New York. Presented by Inc. and CNBC.
And so many more entrepreneurs to come on stage as well as we await the next session with the cybersecurity head. Now, also later on today, we're going to be hearing from, of course, one of the sharks. Daymond John will be here. We have Ariana Huffington set to take the stage as well, and then Bobby Brown, who is, of course, a cosmetics innovator and entrepreneur. She'll also be here as well. And there are just around a few thousand joining us here in downtown New York, midtown New York, just to get a flavor as to how to build a successful business. A lot of energy, a lot of ideas floating around, and we're checking in on all the innovation. We'll bring you some of the best tips that we're getting as well. And of course, the top hot topics that are being discussed here today. And you'll find all that on our website. Don't forget, CNBC.com. We are live streaming the event.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.